how to adjust his route, right?
Yes.
And I will say this about Tim Tebow, and I know what he is as a quarterback. He was never a cerebral quarterback.
Right.
He's never a reader of the defense.
Right.
He's as instinctive as a running back is, right?
Yeah.
He's very good riding the side. He can do that.
Right.
It's actually a gift of his. He's a good ball handler, and he can hold on, and either pull it or give it, depending on what the defensive end does.
Right.
So he's great at that. But as far as reading, seeing, progressions, 1, 2, 3, that's not what he does. And it didn't translate into tight end routes either because he's not a particularly cerebral
He's never run routes. You're asking a guy that's never run and then on the fly realize that they changed defense. That's what a receiver has to do and to be on the same page with a quarterback. Okay, we call a route and we think we're going to get quarters. Well, they go to cover 2, which is 2 deep zone. Hold on, wait a minute. Now what do I got? You got to think, okay, and everything in the West Coast, I don't know what time they run, but Skip, everything in the West Coast offense was adjustable. So you had to be able to adjust on the fly. Or am I taking it down the hole? Am I keeping it up the seam? Or am I hooking it up? And you got to think about that, Skip, by your third step, because I keep what I got. Because John can't be back there patting the ball. So, like I said, Skip, I could be wrong, but it looked to me that Tim on the route had a clear. They were bringing the dagger, Tavon Austin, in behind it because Tebow is going to clear that area. Tebow turns and looks and see Gardner Minshew steps up.
Sat down.
He said, well, I'm going to sit down. But you can't do that.
And now you got 2 receivers about 5 yards apart. And Tavon's like, I'll catch it. It was thrown to like 2 guys. It might have been intended for Tebow.
It might have been. But the thing is, so I'm looking at, because if you look at here, you look at this, it's like they ran a dagger. 2 clears. I think he might be the slot guy next to Tebow. Look at what he does, Skip. So he's expecting it to be vacated because Tebow has cleared it out. Everybody's dropping to a zone, so it's cleared out by Tebow. Tavon says, hey, I'm in. And
it's a broken play because Minshew gets
Minshew steps up, and so that's what I'm thinking. Tebow looks back, sees him, steps up. I'm like, I'm just going to sit down in the vacated area.
So in the end, I'm sorry this happened for the league's sake because I thought it would have been a good story for the league. I'm sorry for all these shows because we would feed off it all year long, going back and forth about his roles or lack thereof, or his however many snaps he would get. And yet, in the end, Urban is not a man who succumbs to social media pressure. So I don't think he cared about what the shows were saying or the social media. He just said, I really like this football team. And I think he was very impressed with what his young quarterback did the other day. And remember, he took a running back later in that Etienne, and I love him. And I told you, he is really good.
And Skip, the running back that they had, Robinson was 100 really in the top 100. So it wasn't like not like he was a bum.
Nope. So I think Urban sat back and said, you know what? We're going to be just fine. We don't need him. He's not going to add much. I think he liked having him around because the kids sort of would look up to his accomplishments, and he was good for leadership, and he didn't rock any boats or anything, but he couldn't back it up on the field as number 85.
I just hate that they put him in a position where he couldn't succeed. Tim Tebow was never going to be a tight end. If you're gonna use him in a certain role, okay, let him play that role. If he's going to be like a jack, now he's not going to be Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill can catch the ball. Taysom Hill is more athletic than Tebow.
Totally agree. And the key is he's faster than Tim Tebow.
But Skip, think about it. There are games that he didn't play offensively, but what did he do? He'd up back on punt. He plays punt return. He's a kick return. So he's doing all those special teams until Sean Payton says, you know what? Man, this guy is really talented. We got to find a way to get him on the field. We can hand it to him. We can put him under the center, let him get quarterback draws. We can do a lot of different things with him.
Taysom Hill is a much better pocket passer. He can sit in the pocket and throw it pretty well. He's obviously challenging Jameis for the starting job.
Skip, they throw the ball down. They throw the ball to him going down the field. He's just not a guy you run a screen to or something like that. They can throw the ball to him down the field. He can throw it down the field, but he can block. And so, for me, I just hate that Urban. I didn't think Tim Tebow really could, on his own merit, make this team. I thought Urban would give it. I was like, well, Urban, you know the man can't play tight end. Why would you bring him back knowing that he can't play a position. If you're going to have him do what he did in Florida, let him do that.
Let him do it, and don't put 85 on him. No, don't put him in a situation he can't succeed. So, don't try to make me play a safety. That's not what I want the offensive side of the football. Okay, wide receiver to tight end, I get it. But Tim Tebow has never blocked. Tim Tebow has never caught the ball. No. So I'm assuming also that Tim's baseball career is over because he gave up baseball because the Mets were saying we're definitely going to bring him to camp, to spring training with the big league team. And instead, he chose to pursue football one last time. So I'm assuming the Mets thing is gone. He did make an all-star team at AA. He was now at AAA. I don't know what would have happened, but I'm going to assume that that's all done now, that he's done as a professional athlete.
Skip, he does a good job on the SEC network talking about football.
Skip, well, that's what he's going to do.
Skip, but the thing is, what Tim needs to understand, you did have a successful career. God blessed you. Everybody's not going to be Tom Brady. Everybody's not going to be Adam Vinatieri, Skip. Adam Vinatieri retired at 46. Tom is 44. Everybody, so when you average it out, the average NFL career is about 3 years. So even with a Tom Brady and Adam Vinatieri, because for all those guys that play 10, 15 years, there's some guys that don't make it to bring the average NFL career down to 3 years.
I got it.
So, Tim, you're great.
But here's my point about Tebow. I don't know him well personally. I've interviewed him 3 times. I interviewed him right before we started this show. Remember when he had his baseball showcase at USC out here in L.A.? So just before we started on September 6th of 2016. I spoke to him after his showcase, and he drove home the point to me that he was still devastated that he never got a chance to start another NFL game as a quarterback after that magical run in Denver. And I still say, I've told you this before, 20, 30, 50 years from now, people will look back at, what did that guy Tebow do for that year? Well, that was pretty great. That run, it was magical. And he's pulling games out left and right. And I always said he can make plays at the end of games.
He was going to need somebody to do for him what the Ravens have done for Lamar Jackson.
They
build the entire offense around his skill set and let him take his lumps and says, okay, this is what we're going to be. That's what you're going to have to do, Skip.
Ironically, if Peyton hadn't hurt his neck so badly that the Colts gave up on Peyton and just said, we're
you never got a chance at Peyton.
Well, that's what I'm saying. if Peyton never got hurt, if he stayed completely healthy, then does Tebow remain as the quarterback the second year in Denver as the starting quarterback? I don't know. Elway never was comfortable with
it. No, they were looking for a quarterback.
Well,
they probably would have probably taken you at quarterback.
Okay, but they were under a lot of pressure to at least give him one more go-round, one more time around. And unless Peyton Manning knocks on the door and says, hey, can I play? And you say, we'll take you, right? Because Peyton wanted to go play for Elway.
He wanted to go play for Elway.
Okay.
Even though, and that's how bad, Skip, Peyton couldn't throw the ball from me to that wall.
They said he'd be in the locker room and try to throw it like 5 feet, and he had no
10 yards
because his tricep was just dead.
And the doctor told him, said you might wake up Monday and you're right back to where you were before you had this injury. And it might not never come back. But for him to come back and to get what he got out of his career, but Skip, I just hate the Urban mind. I didn't think Tim Tebow on his own merit could make it at the tight end. I just hate that Urban put him in this situation, knowing that he had never played this position, knowing that blocking is a mindset, and that's not how Tebow's wired. If you're going to let him do jump passes, if you're going to let him, give him that. Let him run the Skip. Put him in the backfield and let him let Gardner Minshew hand it to him or toss it to him and let him, do what he does and throw the ball. But don't put him in a situation where he can't succeed.
I got it. Well, let me say in conclusion that I will miss Tebow because I miss those days of 2011 on ESPN. That was on ESPN2, as you recall. We were doing ratings off Tebow Mondays that I don't think anybody will ever reach again on that network. It was unbelievable, the firestorm of reaction, pro and con, to Tim Tebow.
I think we've seen the last of Tim Tebow as an athlete, sporting and trying to compete in a sport.
Well, I've told you, he was the biggest lightning rod I've ever encountered and the single most debatable professional athlete in the history of sports that I've encountered was Timothy Richard Tebow.
I mean, I just like I said, I wish Urban would have set him up for success and not failure, because this was a failure from go.
Right.
And
so
I just feel bad.
Now he's a married man. I don't know this for a fact, but I assume they want to start a family pretty soon, and I think he's going to segue into the next phase of his life.
Yeah.
Well, I give Tim a lot of credit for giving it a go, and I always love who he is as a person. I just hope he finds something that keeps him happy moving forward, guys.
Yep.
Add Joelle